And welcome to another assigned episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles.
Yay!
I am your host, Tim D-O-double-G.
Yay!
I'm joined by the man behind the sound effects, at Agent_70 on Twitter.
Yay! I can't hear a bloody thing. I'm just pretending that it's there in my own head.
It's there in your heart.
There you go.
We're
moving closer and closer to getting a mixer into this setup. But go on.
It's true. Soon we'll have the boom mic. What do you call it? The boom microphones.
That's right.
The noise cancellation.
That's right.
I'll actually remember to turn on lights so I'm not sitting in the dark here. I'm just looking. I need to turn this lamp on right behind me. Actually, it is on. What am I talking about? I need the upper light on. We've also got at PCN_Dirt on Twitter here.
Yay!
I gotta do sound effects. I get doing
I'm working on it. I'm working on
it.
We've got at RowdyCat on Twitter.
Yay!
And we have a very special guest tonight that wanted to hop on with us and discuss some of the comic book news that we'll get to a little later. We've got at Darkwing Duck on Twitter here.
Yay!
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. I figured I'd had to add some ladies to the show.
Yes, it's a sausage fest up in this piece.
Really, I had to mix it up a little bit, you know?
There you go.
Now that's Darkwing. That's Darkwing Duck minus the A in dark. What other characters are you missing in your name? That's it. Had to open it up.
This is going to be too difficult.
So with that, let's see. Make sure to go to the website, thekliqnation.com. We can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles and comic book reviews.
Ching chang!
Do I need to do it?
I hit it.
There I go.
There it goes.
On my side. Let's see. Follow the Twitter account at thekliqnation.
Ching chang!
Like the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/thekliqnation.
Ching chang!
Uh-oh, something falling?
It's okay. Keep going.
Okay. It's probably the cat.
I love it.
That's
awesome.
Subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Search for The KLIQ Nation. And subscribe on youtube.com/thekliqnation.
Ching chang, ching chang.
I'll do mine.
There you go.
Add us on Google+. I believe the Google+ page is... actually, I don't know it by heart. I remember it ends with plus The KLIQ Nation is the URL.
I love it.
Oh, that's terrible.
I love it.
It's new. What is it?
YouTube.com/thekliqnation?
Not YouTube, the Google+ page.
Oh.
They actually unique URLs now. It's on the business cards I made that I don't have right here in front of me.
That would be smart to
I should
have
know.
in front of you now.
Just search for The KLIQ Nation on Google+. Like the page. Follow the page. Use hashtag Comic Book Chronicles on your favorite social media websites.
There you go.
Remember, we are part of the Codes for the Podcast Network and comic-related podcasting networks. That's comicrelated.com and codesforthepodcast.com. We record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Just if you subscribe to youtube.com. What? Oh. If you subscribe to youtube.com/thekliqnation, you'll stay up to date on all shows. And I think, for some reason my mind wants to go blank now. I think that's all the social media accounts I usually plug.
You don't have
That's-
a Black Planet, a Mahente MySpace page, or anything
Oh, no.
like that you want to plug?
There's no Tumblrs or Mahente pages as of yet. You're more than welcome to make those for us, though.
I will definitely make a Mahente and Black Planet page for
Oh
you
no.
guys. Definitely. Once you
I
guys
am
get
so
out
unhip.
there.
I haven't got the foggiest clue as to what she's talking about.
Don't
Oh,
worry about it.
those
Black
are-
Planet.
yeah,
Black
you
Planet
don't-
hasn't
what
been
are
a thing in a while.
Okay.
It's still a thing. What are you
Is
talking
that like
about?
Asian Avenue? Does anyone
Yes.
remember Asian Avenue?
Yes.
Apparently, it never
That's
went away.
funny.
I guess.
Yes, it still exists. I promise you.
Oh wait, I don't doubt it, but whew.
That's funny.
I mean, I'm not on it. I'm just saying.
I'm just
You
saying.
just know about it.
Just
I
saying.
got it.
I know a
Yeah, friend of a
friend.
friend is a friend.
Friend of a
That's
friend.
right.
Who's a cousin of a friend who's on it. Right.
Before
Anyway,
we-
comic books. Mhm.
Before we move on, were there any websites or social media accounts you want to plug, Danny?
Oh yeah, I have my website impressivegeek.com. That's impressive EMPRESSIVE geek.com. So just check that out. You know, leave a comment, like it, reblog it. I don't even care if you trash it. Just bring some traffic. That's all.
There you go.
about that.
Bring
That's
the revenue traffic.
Well, I can just for hours saying this is the absolute worst website on a bunch of hits.
Exactly. You say whatever you want. I might come find you and kill you, but you can say whatever you want.
Pretty
Go ahead. I might track you down.
Really?
But go
I'm
ahead.
wily.
Lovely.
All right, so on to the news segment of the show, where first we'll be discussing the cinematic movie and TV news before we move on to the comic book news. So this is something I wasn't aware of until I opened our news sheet tonight. Marvel Knights Animation's Wolverine vs. Sabretooth Reborn is due out March 24th from Shout Factory.
Wow.
Okay.
So something to look forward to if you like the animated adventures of your favorite comic book characters. You have Wolverine and Sabretooth to watch battle each other.
But haven't we seen that enough in this world?
Not in the world of better animation graphics.
Yeah, not animated well.
I mean, yeah, okay, fine, I guess. I'm not excited, but okay, fine. I guess.
Opera, that'll be worth checking out as well.
New Line buys Bat-Kid Begins distribution and remake rights. He's the hero that we need.
Okay.
Not sure why this was in the cinematic news section, but Deadpool vs. Thanos series to revive this fall.
You know what?
Isn't
I don't know
Deadpool
what.
dead?
Yes, except for the limited series that keep coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cullen
I don't
Bunn and the like.
You know what? I move stuff around all the time, so that's probably why it got scrambled.
Probably.
But anyway, that'll be, what is it, this year? Yeah, this fall.
Sure.
Dominic Cooper is rumored to be in the Preacher front running for
Cool.
the Preacher show.
For
I know
who?
nothing about Preacher.
It's a very
He
good
might be
book.
the-
You should read it.
He might be the main character.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, it's very good. I can see that.
He
But yeah,
crossing
you
companies.
should totally read. Well, actually, no, you don't like magic, so I don't know. It's not really magic. It's like religion magic.
I was gonna say, does it count if it's religion magic?
So okay, I would say check out the first book and see how you feel about it, and then go from there because it's very funny. It's dark. It has
It's
a
well
vampire in it. Yeah, so just check it out. I think you would like it actually, Tim. So just give it a good
Okay.
look at it.
Is it a Vertigo book?
Yes.
Yes.
Sounded like a Vertigo book.
Yeah.
The Flash could introduce Wally West or Bart Allen in season 2. For those of us on the show that actually watched The Flash, great episode. this
It's
week.
been good.
Very great episode. The suspense was up there. And I didn't watch Arrow last night because I had to watch the season finale of Empire.
Okay.
But I did watch it. I did watch it on Hulu Plus before the show.
Mm.
So I'm all caught up. Damn,
Do they
Fox
still
for
do?
making me choose.
Do they still do flashbacks on Arrow?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's not going away.
Okay, so I'm never gonna watch it again then. Okay, cool. I can't deal with the flashbacks.
And Dirk can't deal with CW drama. Angst.
Thanks, G. Yes.
That too, the teen angst of CW. I can't deal with that either.
I can do the whimsical CW with Flash, but the I don't know, the self-hating teen high school prom feel of every episode of Arrow just kind of got to me for a while.
Although they've lightened up on that a little bit, it's still there, but they've lightened up on it a little bit. It's just more anger and wise somethings.
Yeah. Mark Millar teases big Nemesis movie news coming soon because all his projects have to make their way to either TV or movie.
Hey, get that money.
None of them actually have made it. Well, I guess Secret Service has made it. Secret Service has made it. So that's the first of Kick-Ass 2. I'm already
Yeah, I was
forgetting
about to
the
say
word.
Kick-Ass and Wanted. So
Oh yeah,
what are you
Wanted.
talking about, Tim?
Mhm.
I'm throwing him in. I'm throwing him in with everyone else. That like every time a book is announced, it has a movie deal with it, but like none of the stuff has actually started coming out yet.
I think he
Yeah.
has a deal with Fox that allows him to. They're gonna put out pretty much every book that he's ever made.
I believe that might be the case. Yeah.
I really do think that because I heard they're going to be doing Superior as well. So I think they're going to be doing almost every Mark Millar book that he comes out with. So maybe we'll get a Jupiter's Legacy. Why?
I'm sure
I don't know, but
That's almost assured, I feel like, at this point.
well, hopefully comic book movies will be dead before then.
Mm.
Shut your mouth. Get off my show.
That's funny.
Don't kick me out.
You can stay
I'll
for now. Let's see. Let's see. Arrow character is going. I guess a specific Arrow character is going to return this season.
Actually, if you've seen last night's episode, you've already seen that.
I watched it. I don't really remember.
Uh-oh.
But I'll stay in the dark. Gotham actor teases the Joker's return and future. Did the Joker actually show up on that show?
Well, I mean, it's on hiatus now, but there's a guy that they're thinking could be. Well, yes, there is a Joker-like character on the show, let's say, who has shown up in the past couple.
Isn't it the red-headed kid, the ginger?
No, I think this dude was. Yes, it is. I was thinking about somebody else.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even watch the show, and I know this.
Mm-hmm.
I had to give it up. It wasn't doing anything for me.
Me too.
You know,
That's
it's
so
full of
weird.
laughs if you don't go for the plot and just stay for the overacting. It's
No.
it's quite amusing.
Yeah, but I've got pro wrestling for that. I don't need Gotham.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Exactly.
Got wrestling on the background now.
I kind of gave up around Balloon Man, but I kept giving it a shot, and then I just said, I can't do it anymore. I forgot who the last villain was that I watched, but I couldn't do it anymore. Because, Tim, you know how much of a huge Batman fan I am, but I just couldn't. I tried.
That's another thing.
I didn't say try.
The Bruce Wayne kid annoys me on that show.
Exactly.
Mm.
He really annoys me.
What do you ever
A
do
lot.
to you?
Acted
Fake like
badly.
he's Bruce Wayne.
Being annoying 12 or 10-year-old, however old he's supposed to be.
This is more in the Smallville lane than the Batman proper. So we kind of.
And I never watched Smallville.
You were good for that.
Oh my god. Not even just the first season?
Nope.
That was part of the problem. The
Nope.
first and second seasons.
From when it's Superman, And second, he never did anything with his powers.
Until the
Sure he
end.
did.
Eh.
Well, he did stupid things and useless things.
He jumped in front of someone while the explosion surrounded them.
Moved the planet, I heard. I don't know if that's true. But
Wait, what?
I don't know. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Three more people.
I hear the last episode was a treat. I don't know.
Well, he wore the suit for like 2 seconds in the last episode. So that's about it.
Yes, sir. Sound effects are working, Dave.
All right, just checking.
I was like, Dave's checking to make sure his sound effects are working.
I can't hear a bloody thing, so I'm just like, you know,
He's
stomping
also a
all
Superman
over
fan,
this
so
conversation.
3 more people join Fox's Lucifer pilot, which we'll begin to that again later, I believe. Miles Teller reveals that classic Fantastic Four costumes will reappear in the reboot.
Too little, too late.
please watch this movie.
Too little, too late.
What, you guys don't want to see the movie?
Oh,
Eventually.
I'll watch it.
Watch it, maybe.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer for the first time like maybe 2 weeks ago. I kind of want to see it now.
Okay.
I'm curious about it. I'm not excited, but I'm curious. Let's say that.
Well, hey,
I mean, I
can
can
get
see I'm
anybody
curious
that way.
about it as well, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
can see that I'm curious about it as well, but I'm in no hurry to go watch it.
Understandable, definitely. But we all know we're gonna see it eventually.
Eventually.
That's the problem. We're all gonna
Yeah.
see it anyway.
And regarding costumes, Daredevil will supposedly don the red costume in the Netflix series.
Woohoo!
For those
Yeah,
worried.
they give some kind of explanation as to, well, we don't want to give people that at first, but they give some reason as to why they did that.
Yeah, but if anyone read the Frank Miller, John Romita Jr. Man Without Fear limited series, I think that's where they're getting a lot of this from. He starts out in that miniseries. This is roughly circa 90, 95 maybe. You can get this in a trade. They start out with Matt Murdock kind of doing vigilante things in a black suit that is very, very reminiscent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a direct echo of what's on the preview images of the show. So I think that's where they're getting a lot of the inspiration from, and eventually he dons the red, towards the end of that miniseries. So I want to see the yellow and the red. That's what I want to see.
So you want to confuse the lames that who don't know anything about Daredevil. They were like,
Right, and then everyone's gonna be like, "D-Man, what the hell is Dennis Dunphy doing on screen? What?" But bump.
Now,
Yeah,
what
you're
the
assuming that
real
people.
Daredevil with the half blue, half red suit, the original.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
I was about to say you're assuming that people know who D-Man is at this point, outside of people like us.
And speaking of off topic, but still movie news, since we were talking about Mark Millar earlier, I see Superhero Hype says Sean Murphy and Mark Millar's Chrononauts is heading to the big screen.
There you go.
I'll read that later. Let's see. Next up, we have The Flash's Dominic Purcell joins Arrow Flash spinoff.
Is that the guy that plays Captain Cold?
No, I think that's Heatwave.
Oh, Heatwave. Okay.
Okay, yeah. All right. T.J. Miller seemingly confirms he's Weasel and Deadpool.
Who?
T.J. Miller. He's been in a couple comedic movies, I believe.
But he's playing who?
Weasel. I don't know. I don't read Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that probably pretty much.
you gotta be a real hardcore Deadpool reader to understand who that
The
is.
question sums it up right there.
You know?
That there's no such thing as a hardcore Deadpool. No such thing.
There are.
Really
There have
isn't.
to be.
No, maybe old school Deadpool, but no one that's currently. If they are, they're like 13 and annoying. They don't exist.
All right.
They don't
Wow.
exist.
No
Tell us
love
how you
for
really
that.
feel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She
Next time
probably
I
has
won't hold
empirical
back.
evidence to back this up in the form of like,
And
you know,
this is why we
surveys
love
from her
Danny.
local comic book store.
Like, do you like Deadpool? Do you like Deadpool? Who
Yeah.
are his villains? No one knows. No one knows.
So, and I saw something else about someone confirmed to be playing Copycat, who I do know.
Yeah, Marina Baccarin.
So, she's old X-Force, Cable.
Yeah.
She was playing Domino as she was Copycat as Domino back in
Right,
the
I remember
old
that. That was a
X-Force.
storyline in X-Force, right?
Yes.
I remember.
All right. Supergirl using the same Daily Planet building as Lois and Clark. Ruth Negga cast as Tulip in AMC's Preacher.
Which will probably get me to watch that.
Cool.
And that's it for the movie TV news. So now to the comic book.
Hold on. You skipped over one.
As I always do, but go on.
Aquaman actor Momoa may have reignited DC Marvel comic war. What is he doing?
So
Right,
supposedly,
Talk trash, I'm assuming.
No. So
he-
supposedly he
Yeah.
signed some guy had a issue of something that he had signed, supposedly signed, and he was asked that how did he feel about, you know, XYZ, and he said fuck Marvel, supposedly.
Oh.
And then that ignited the 1,000-year war again.
Okay, Baywatch. We
Wait,
hear
I'm
you,
sorry.
we see you.
What is this again? As if there wasn't a continuous war throughout the years. And,
Yeah, I
you
know, but you know,
Yeah, but
it
there's
had-
always detente. There's always periods of peace.
stoking
but,
the fire. Yeah, exactly.
You know, ultimately, you know, it's you know what? F you, Momoa.
Well, no, hang on, because like I said, so here it is. So he was asked to sign a poster for Batman Superman at a Comic-Con. The fan asked him to send a message to the DC haters, and allegedly answer speaks for herself, which is in a post or something. And it says "fuck Marvel," and then it says he hadn't confirmed that he had actually signed that poster or anything. So we don't know if that actually happened or not, or he just, you know, whatever.
All right. I see you, Momoa.
I wouldn't expect them to say anything less.
I that seems like something he would say, and I really don't care. But cool, okay. It's not like people aren't going to go see DC movies because Momoa said "fuck Marvel," or they're not going to see it because they're not DC fans. They're going to see it. It's the Trinity. They're going to see it. It's going to
Yeah,
happen.
but we may see it via, you know, torrents of bits.
People are going to do that anyway. I mean,
Most people might not even
people
most people might not even
That's
know
true.
that DC and Marvel are separate things anyway.
Oh, there's plenty of people out there that don't get me started on that one. All right,
Yeah,
moving on.
But
Yeah.
plenty of people don't know the difference between DC and Marvel, so this is not going to impact anyone. If anything, it might fuel the fire for nerds saying, I'm not going to go
I
see
think
it
that was-
because of Marvel."
I think that's the point, and I don't
Right.
think it has gotten that much traction. So I like to think it's not going to do as much as people. That's whoever tried that started.
Right. I just wanted to throw in, I see here, I don't know if I missed it. Apparently there was a TV commercial for Avengers Age of Ultron that premiered today during the first round of March Madness, the NCAA tournament. And it got everyone a flutter or a Twitter on Twitter because it showed a lot of new footage. And I have specifically stayed away from this one because I do not want to see anything more. But my understanding is that there's the people who have seen it and who have posted are basically saying there's a lot of new cool one-liners in this, and like great footage, and it's just priming the pump. I think Tim posted something about it, so I'm excited. I'm just trying to stay away from it now.
Yeah, it's a lot of new stuff, so stay away if you don't want to see any more.
I've only seen one of the trailers, and it's because I was forced to see this trailer.
Mhm.
I was in the movie theaters, and I couldn't, it's not like I can just get up and walk away and not watch it or hear it. But I've been avoiding the trailers because I don't want to, I know what's going to happen to an extent that's like, okay, I have to see this. I just want to see James Spader or listen to James Spader as Ultron. But I wanted to be surprised because trailers give away so much nowadays.
Yeah.
So I posted the trailers on my website, but I didn't watch it. I refused to watch it. It's, I'm gonna keep it that way, staying away from trailers.
All right.
They're the devil.
Let's see. In comic book news, there's various Marvel Secret Wars announcements. There were Armor Wars, Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, the 90s X-Men animated series, Angela meets the 1602 universe, Age of Apocalypse. Yeah. Oh, and Gabriel, what's his name? I forget the guys. The publishing guy from Marvel, Gabriel. Let me see, what's his name? His last name. I forget his name. Where is it? Marvel's SVP of Sales and Marketing, David Gabriel. Oh, okay, Gabriel's his last name. David Gabriel addressed the curiosity and confusion surrounding what's going on with Secret Wars, and he gave a list of all the series that are ending because of Secret Wars. So it's like 30-something books, 31?
33.
33, yeah.
Wow.
A lot of the new books weren't on the list, though, so...
Oh, yeah, well, there's a couple.
Not really. Not new books. Oh, well...
How what are we talking about new? Because Guardians 3000 is new, and Cyclops is relatively...
I don't count those as new. I'm talking about, like, Ant-Man and Howard the Duck and... But
they're not gonna cancel the the money makers because Ant-Man the movie's coming out. Howard the Duck, the Stinger got people amped up about it. People actually seem like they like Howard the Duck. I might pick that up, but yeah, they're not gonna cancel the money makers yet. Guardians 3000 probably isn't making them any type of money.
Well, a lot of books on here are the money. I mean, like
right. I mean, some of them are the flagship, like Uncanny. Oh, not. I mean, Uncanny's not the biggest flagship anymore, but Amazing. Spidey's here. Avengers is here, obviously. So they're going to be relaunching these at some point.
Well, I mean, they're being replaced by the Secret Wars.
Right, for a time.
Yeah.
For a time, but they're probably going to bring it back after.
Exactly.
And a couple of them are actually just straight up ending. So.
Right. So, I mean, again, the one point that I keep bringing up with this is that this is going to play havoc with anyone that's trying to, either set up a pull list or manages a pull list. I know Dirt has some input on this. I do my pull list through Comixology, and I was looking at the June solicits. They haven't hit Comixology yet, but I'm kind of, I have some trepidation when they finally hit the Comixology pull list site. And I'm going to sit there try to figure out what it is I'm going to be pulling for June because it's going to be very difficult to figure out what I want the comic book shop to put aside for me. Just based on the solicits that have come out already.
It's the same as Convergence with DC. It's the same nightmare all over again. Where
exactly.
So many of the books have no analog that you can point to. Someone who's reading. Amazing X-Men or Astonishing X-Men or whatever it is, they're not necessarily going to care about X-Men 92.
Right.
So it's almost impossible to figure out where these books are going to fit into normal people's pull lists.
Yep.
There was something I was going to add. What did Gabriel say? There's something else in his article, in his interview, he mentioned that now I can't remember what he said.
Something about a sledgehammer?
It'll come to me later.
Oh, that it's going to be the Marvel Universe for a little while? That Battle World is the Marvel Universe?
No. Damn it. It was something good. It was something like it was a good point, but of course I don't remember it now.
What you mean about how they gave the creators the opportunity to do like last day stories or tie-ins or Gonna let the
no.
creators wind it down.
He mentioned that for a look at what I guess is maybe to come after Secret Wars. I think he said is the all new, all different Avengers new comic book day issue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's May 2nd, people.
Woohoo.
Go to Dirt Shop and give them money.
Yeah, let me just remind everybody what we talked about last year. When you go to get your free comics on Free Comic Book Day, they're not free to the store giving them away. We have to pay for them, to buy them, to ship them, to give them to you. So when you come into your local comic book shop, please buy something else while you're there. Grab a couple comics, grab a trade paperback, grab a toy, do something, because free comics aren't free for everyone.
That's right.
No, I just want the free comics. I don't want
You're out.
anything else.
Ah,
Well, hey, on Free Comic Book Day, I make sure to buy at least $100 worth of comic books from my local comic book store.
wow.
So,
Yeah, but on a regular week, you're buying $300 worth of comic books. So
no,
you see how it
I'm
works out.
not. No, I'm not. I when I first started reading comic books, I was buying about 200 a week, but then I dwindled it
Damn.
down. Yeah, and then I dwindled because I was buying a lot of trades.
Oh.
Then I dwindled it down, and now I'm about maybe $30 a week. So I try, and I'm usually at my comic book store at least twice a week. So I'm one of those people who I make sure I buy a good amount of stuff on Free Comic Book Day, and I give away the free comics to people and things like that to get them to come to my comic book store. And I'm always bringing people to my comic book store, so I'm a supporter.
Nice.
Okay?
Yeah, we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll make
And
sure
this is
to
what-
send you my receipt. Okay?
And this is why we have Danny on the show.
Exactly.
Let's see, what else we got? Did I just go too far? Okay, here we go. Okay, let's get to Batgirl.
Oh.
So
gosh.
DC Comics cancels Batgirl Joker variant cover at the cover artist Raphael Albuquerque's request. So a lot of this happened while I was not online for a good portion of the weekend. It started Friday, I guess, when the DC June solicits came out
Right.
Yep.
near the end of the last week. And then on Friday, they announced that I guess June is Joker variant month, where a whole bunch of DC books get different Joker variant covers. And the cover for the Batgirl 41, I believe the issue is with Joker and Batgirl, and Joker's got his arm around her, holding a gun to her head, and her mouth is painted with the Joker's red smile, and she's got a tear in her eye, and she looks fearful, and yada yada yada.
And she's crying.
People online, of course, took umbrage with this cover because it didn't match the tone of the nice or the more friendlier, not friendlier, but the
Bubbly.
bubbly Batgirl book, and they went with the hashtags to cancel the book. And I guess was it this week? A couple days, of course, went by. This week came rolled around, and like I said in the title, Albuquerque and DC decided to pull the book. Some people, of course, still mad. Some people are happy.
Yeah. Well, there was also pulled because there was people who were being triggered by the image of the image being shown on the cover, which was another reason.
People were threatening the life of Raphael Albuquerque too. So
Well, there's also that too.
yeah,
Just to clarify, it wasn't him being threatened. It was people who were angry about the cover.
Yes.
They were getting threatened. So DC saw that they were getting threatened by people who liked the cover or who were just being jerks, and DC decided they were going to pull it. That was one of the deciding factors. But Albuquerque, as well as Cameron Stewart, they clarified and said that Albuquerque was not being threatened. It was the fans that were being threatened with bodily harm and things like that.
So yes. I guess.
And
What do we want to add?
We have Danny on.
Well, personally, I'm upset that they pulled the cover because I liked the cover. The Killing Joke book, which is where they got the cover from, is one of my favorite. It actually is my favorite Batman story. And just to be clear, he had a gun in his hand, but he had like his fingers up to her head in the shape of a gun. And I get the issue with the cover, but I'm sorry, but come on, like you could release it in a different way. Like my suggestion was, maybe you put it in like those little black plastic covers that they've had on past books, and just have it that way. It's a variant. People were saying, oh, it doesn't match the inside of the cover. I mean, inside of the book. That's what variants do. They don't always match the inside of it. That's the point of it. And for me, the Killing Joke is a very important part of the Batgirl mythos. Like, she got shot. She became Oracle. And then Gail Simone used that to make her a stronger person. Like, so many people say Batgirl coming back from that injury that happened so long ago to become this, warrior through traumatic experiences. So it's just, I think it's just, some people are just being, I hate to say this, but some people are just being babies and overreacting a little bit about it, especially with this whole, it doesn't match the inside of it. A cover doesn't have to match the inside of it. A lot of covers don't match the ending, but I commend DC for listening to their artists and listening to the fans and pulling the cover. But I honestly think that they should release it in some other form. Like with Marvel, when they pulled that horrible Spider-Woman cover, they still released it down the line. But I think DC should still give people an option to buy it at another time, maybe in a different setting, maybe just online. You can just buy it that way. That's just my opinion. I want the cover.
The thing that gets me is when you hear people say, well, it doesn't fit the tone of the book. That to me is people saying, I don't follow comics, because DC has been doing these theme variants for like a year. Yeah. They've been doing the Harley Quinn month, they did the Monsters month, they did the Flash month, they did, I mean, like, seriously, it's been about a year where they've been doing variants that
Steampunk.
fit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when someone says, well, it doesn't fit the tone of the book, so that's why it shouldn't be on there, that's just a giant red flag saying, I don't read comics, but I'm upset with this. Here, look at me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My thing is, it was creators who were actually saying that as well. Like, it doesn't fit the tone of the inside of the book. And it's like, well, you do comic books, so you should understand that covers don't match the inside all of the time. They don't have to. And I made that argument, and they were like, well, maybe they should. Why? For what? The cover is made just because of the cover, not for the inside. So it's a variant. A variant is supposed to be different. That is the definition of variant. But like I said, Mazel Tov to DC for doing the right thing. What else can I do about it? So.
My takeaway was, when I first looked at it, it didn't grab me as being that divisive. Mostly because I hardly ever pay attention to like covers, especially variant covers to begin with. But I understand people being upset about it. So if they kept it out, I'm basically in the camp of it. If they kept it, it was fine. If they pulled it, it was fine.
Yeah, and once again, it is a variant, not the main cover. If they had did it for the main cover, that would probably made a little bit of a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a variant cover that not everybody's going to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And another problem I had is people kept saying it's disturbing, it's jarring. Mm-hmm. It's the Joker.
It's supposed to be creepy. Go ahead.
I mean, the Joker.
Kind of cutting out.
Yeah, she's breaking up.
Oh, the Joker got to her.
Oh no!
Exactly. He's supposed to be jarring.
I'm sorry.
The Gremlins are out in effect tonight, man.
Yeah.
It's Endgame.
Or maybe her internet connection got shorted out there. I know
She got
those
so
issues.
angry she smashed her phone against the wall.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. So I think
Still
that
there?
covers. I think that covers the Batgirl news.
I think it's a
My
good looking cover. I think the artwork looks really good on it too.
Well, I like Albuquerque anyway, so
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't get any flack over, at least from, like, I guess creators. All right, so let's see. John Cassidy leaves Star Wars after issue 6. This was where sad music would play.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. We were just talking about this.
Whoops.
That's funny.
Which one is it?
It's the trombone. There you go.
But never fear, because Stuart Immerman is he's going to take over as new artist.
Yay!
That's cool.
Yeah, that's an even trade.
Yeah. As we mentioned, the June 2015 solicits are out, so go rifle through there to see what is coming. I think that's actually about it. Let's see. Marvel's Craig Kyle is gonna write Blue Thunder reboot. So that's a movie, I believe.
Yes, it's an old '80s movie about a helicopter and the man who loves it.
Wizard World Greenville postponed until 2016 and could go up against Comic-Con.
Yeah, so this is one of those things that I just found out about. I did not know this was a thing. So if you're local to South Carolina like me, you know there's a certain amount of you don't get to hear. Well, I guess you do hear much, but anyway. So there's a couple of comic conventions that are around. This one, I don't know too much about this because I'm just hearing about it. It sounds like this is fairly new. Basically what happened was it ran up on another existing convention that was happening in Greenville. And oops, Wizard is basically a victim of Wizard's scheduling, as the article said, aggressive scheduling. So it's going to be moved. It's going to be canceled this year, moved next year, and go up against Comic-Con, which, good luck with that one. And we're talking San Diego it's going up against. So,
although, to be fair, it is on the opposite coast.
This is true. Yeah, people will go to it.
People that don't want to deal with the crowds are not going to travel all the way across the country. So, if you've got one 100 miles from you, or you can pay $5,000 for the joy of being jammed shoulder to shoulder with a billion other people, go choose the smaller one that's nearby, have more fun.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to check this one out. This one and that other one. I don't know. Like the SC Comic Con is this weekend, and hence the reshuffle. I'm gonna have to check that out in the next year or two.
So Danny's internet is cutting out, as she says.
Oh, boo.
But as I told her, at least she got to discuss Batgirl, which is what she wanted to talk about tonight.
Yep.
Make sure to follow her on Twitter at Darkwing Duck, minus the A in dark. And go to check her blog out, which is impressivegeek.com.
That's EM.
Yes, impressive. Correct, there's an I in regular spelling. And to finish up with the news, let's see, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from IDW is getting interesting.
You almost spoiled it right there.
Yeah,
Spoiler!
I almost
Spoiler
did.
bell! Ring that bell.
Where is it?
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm like 4 or 5 issues behind, but I did read the articles to see what happened in this past week's issue. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, some things from what I see.
Some things.
Yeah.
Some things.
Countdown to issue 50. I was about to say 500. Not quite there yet.
I don't know if you count every Turtles comic that they've ever done since the beginning, the way they do with Deadpool and some of that stuff, Wolverine, you might be able to call it the 500th issue.
how do we know we can trust them on their counting?
Oh, you obviously can't. But
Yeah, I was about to say, does it really matter?
Let that go.
Like Uncanny X-Men just happens to hit issue, was it 500 or whatever, right before Secret Wars starts?
Yeah, but that's a little easier to count, though. You know, one publisher, just a couple of volumes. The Turtles is going across Mirage, it's going across Image, it's going across, a couple of different publishers, so it's a little bit more difficult, and you're counting all those little miniseries as well, so.
I'm sure you could open up a thread in Reddit or something, and you'd have 9,000 people lining up trying to get the accurate countdown.
Sure.
I make it what's the phrase? I make it a point to not go on Reddit.
Oh, yeah, well, that's probably for the best.
Hey, not all parts of Reddit is bad now, so let's not get that.
Yeah, if you visit any part of Reddit, you're probably on an FBI list.
And I say that because I have a Reddit thing for News Notes Need, so maybe slightly whatever, but
And you're on the FBI list.
Maybe.
I have enough distractions the way I look at it. I've got enough things to distract me. Don't need any more. All right, so any variant covers, since we're talking variants, that we need to talk about here in the variants?
Batgirl one.
Actually, I was about to say, speaking of, the Batman 40 variant is really good. Here, I'm going to try to pull it up real quick. Boop. Which you probably won't be able to see too well. I should have got that other copy that I had, but that's fine. As you can see, is for people who are old, it is one of the movie poster variants, and this one is off Purple Rain. Mm. So it's good stuff, people.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool cover.
Yeah, I should have got the bigger version of it because for this, but
that's the cover you were going on about this week.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And then outside of that, it's not really.
Although,
much.
actually, does Purple Rain fit the tone and the style of this?
You know what? There was somebody on Twitter that kind of made that point slightly, and I was like, well, I don't read the book, so I don't know. And they kind of said sorta, but I don't know. Like, good try, good hustle, but I don't know.
All right, so time for me to do my Cold Slither podcast read for tonight. This time it's for Busted Tees. This episode of Comic Chronicles is sponsored by Busted Tees, your home for funny, awesome, cool t-shirts that are sure to get your friends' attention. Choose from several eye-catching t-shirts inspired by pop culture, such as Central City Running Club, The Flash, Carbonite Jones, Indiana Jones frozen in carbonite like Han Solo, All About That Echo Base, No Rebels, Star Wars, Queen of Hearts, Harley Quinn, Underwood for President, House of Cards, and much more are on sale. To help keep our podcast free, order from Busted Tees by going to coldslitherpodcast.com. That's coldslitherpodcast.com, then clicking on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Click on the Busted Tees banner and then shop for awesome t-shirts. Busted Tees through coldslitherpodcast.com. Do it today.
Chang Chang! Ka-ching.
That was the wrong cha-ching.
There you go.
Alrighty, so books to review this week. Did Doug fill his in? Yes, he did. There you go.
Yeah, amazing, right?
Oh, man. Allison ate him so far behind now.
Oh, you got it. Okay, here, let's start there.
Yeah, let's start there.
All right, so, again, what makes this story work so well is the fact that it's so simple, really, in the story it's trying to convey. And in this particular issue, what they've been doing leading up to here is there is a movement to destroy the androids, to remove them from society. They're not safe. You can't control them. How do you know if they're sentient or not, and if they are, do they value human life, and et cetera, et cetera. And this is the issue where it all kind of explodes. This is the one where it now comes down to the point where this is no longer like a theoretical question that is being asked by people on TV, by the talking heads and the politicians. This is when it gets real, and they start kicking down doors, and they start tracking people, and it becomes almost an entirely different book towards the end of this, where it goes from being this simple little relationship story between these two characters into, now you got the drama. Now you've got the chase, the action. This is when people are actually in danger, and I'm kind of torn up a little bit inside because I like this book so much. There's only a couple issues left, apparently.
So there's an end point.
Yeah, there is an end point, and they've put people in mortal danger in this series now, and because there's only a couple issues left, it's very clear that someone may not survive. And when you've got a limited series and you're free to do whatever with your characters, one of these people that we've grown to really like may not make it to the end of the series, and now I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I love it and I hate it at the same time.
You know what I've realized, like when it comes to the independent books, a lot of times for me, simple is better. As I'll kind of go into in another, we'll get to another book I read this week. But yeah, I like the simple books. From the big two, I expect confusing Hickman mumbo jumbo, to steal a phrase.
Right.
But I like the simpler stories also. So maybe one day I'll catch up on Alex and Ada, especially since it's ended.
Yeah, since you do have an end point coming, there will be a point that you could say to someone, just sit down and read these two trades and get the story.
That's what I intend to do.
Okay. Cool. Anyone else want to throw one out?
Come on, Agent 70.
How was Amazing Spider-Man 16.1?
It was okay. It features the return of Jerry Conway, longtime Spider-Man writer, killer of Gwen Stacy, to the Spider-Man titles after a long time away, and it's basically the story of the Wraith, who is a police detective, I believe, Yuri Watanabe in her civilian guise. And basically the story is something happens to one of Yuri's colleagues, and she basically is seeking revenge. And as part of her revenge on the underworld, she sort of makes a deal with a devil, or like a enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing. And this may be a precursor to a storyline where we see where the Wraith ends up going, where the moral and ethical lines get crossed. That may be where Spider-Man goes post Secret Wars. I don't know, but it's an interesting one-off right now. It serves to develop one of the supporting characters that kind of was shunted into the background just prior to Spider-Verse. She played something of a role during Slott's run, maybe during Big Time or even Brand New Day, but once Superior Spider-Man kind of wound down, I think she played, a decent-sized role in the downfall of Spidey-Ock. But since then, we haven't really seen her, so this serves as like a nice little launching point for a possible new direction for the character. Otherwise, it's an okay Spidey book. There's a reason why it's a 16.1. It's not really it's not really serving to further any of the stories that are going on right now.
I will mention, I think in the June solicits, what was interesting was there's like a Spider-Man 19.1, but there's no issue 19, if I remember correctly.
I have to take a look at the solicits again. Like I was saying earlier, the June solicits were more just a primer on what's going to be coming out from Secret Wars and trying to figure out what, if anything, I'm going to pull. But yeah, that's interesting to see that they would put out a 19.1 and not have a 19 come out just yet. But Marvel is wacky with those numbering, with the numbering nowadays. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Spider
Yeah,
Cat
exactly.
angry.
Spider Cat.
Oh, you guys heard that? Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Dirt, you want to do some good old Nathan Edmondson double-barreled gun-toting Marvel characters? Punisher, Black Widow?
We had some good ones this week.
Yeah.
I would say. Both of these were fantastic. And the fact that they both came out in the same week, I was really torn. It's like, which one do you read first? It's like trying to pick a favorite child.
So let's pick which one we'll start with. Black Widow. Let's go alphabetical.
Oh, okay. Well, then let me back up.
Sorry.
Okay, there we go. Black Widow. So apparently, the Chaos group that we thought was evil this whole time may actually be ultimately good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which or return.
Something.
And I did I have not been the biggest Black Widow fan. I have not read any other Black Widow series. Of course, she appears in Avengers and whatever, but otherwise, I have not been too steadily up on the character. So
there really isn't all that much out there, Dirt. So
right, there's a couple.
I know there have been several
miniseries and whatnot, but
I mean, there's the one with Yelena Belova. That was pretty much it that I can recall. That was worth reading. But go on.
But I did enjoy the fact that this one did go back into her past and show some of the events in her youth that kind of led to who she is today, mirroring what's going on now.
Right.
With everything kind of being flipped on its head with what she understands her mission to be and who she's fighting against. And so I thought it was just a great way to kind of encapsulate certain parts of her life and how really these events shape her and make her who she is, and her understanding of who these people are can change on a moment's notice because that's life. I mean, that's what happens.
Right. Just a real quick aside. The artist, I don't know who the artist is on. Wait, is it Noto? Yeah, it is Noto. So Noto does a fairly good job with photo reference and photo likenesses, right? Did Roddy? Did you read this book as well?
I did, yes.
Okay, so did you notice that there's a ballerina in this issue?
Yes.
Did you notice that she sort of had a faint resemblance to the Black Widow that was in, spoiler alert, ding ding ding, Agent Carter on the TV show?
I knew there was some kind of resemblance somewhere, but yeah, I didn't
I wasn't sure. I know
with her, but
yeah, I was about to say, Dirt, I don't know if you were watching the show. That's why I asked Roddy this question.
Yeah,
first.
no, I'm not watching it.
So that's what there almost seemed to be just that little bit of synergy. I was like, oh, wait a second, that actually does look vaguely familiar, and it's kind of cool that they would draw from, at least in my mind, that they were drawing from the Agent Carter TV show, which obviously is developing the Marvel Cinematic Universe Black Widow background and putting it into the story. It's a very small thing, but I thought it was pretty cool that they did that.
Well, it may not be a small thing because it could be the thing to where whatever happens to the person in the book could also still they'll probably touch upon it again in the next couple of issues or in this arc because that person might end up being, more to Natasha than what she originally was and going into this issue.
Right.
And could very well play on that. So yeah, I didn't think about the Agent Carter thing, but I knew there was some semblance of somebody, that we should know or pick up on.
I
guess. Now did you say that? That was interesting.
Right. But in terms of the book, in terms of the story that's told here, the flashbacks really do help develop what we understand to have been, her upbringing in and around the Red Room.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's really been touched on in any books, really. So it's pretty cool that that Edmondson is going into that and kind of showing, she wasn't necessarily a captive of the Red Room, and they did, and part of it, ding ding ding, spoiler alert, was they actually let her escape to see how she would act.
Mm-hmm.
So that I thought that was really well done, and I'll be disappointed to see. Was this on the list of the 33 books? I think it was.
No, it was not.
Oh, it was not.
It seemed like the books that were part of the Last Days weren't included.
I think one of them just is already in it. Like Electra's already gone, isn't it?
Yeah, Electra was on the list. Yeah, okay. No, that was the first thing I did when I saw that list. I was like, Black Widow, Punisher, Black Widow, Punisher, No, yes, they survive.
Nice.
I think Magneto, Loki,
Storm.
Right.
Well, Storm's not part of the Last Days.
Well, no, but I'm saying, but it's on the list. But is what I'm saying.
It's coming to an end.
Yeah, I'm saying like the part of the Secret Wars Last Days, like Captain America and the Mighty Avengers, Miss Marvel, Black Widow, Punisher. So far, we're on the chopping block.
You know what's cool? I mean, what's cool about that, and we'll move on to the Punisher next. What's cool about that is that they're letting Edmondson tell his stories. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's just making everything more confusing for people trying to guess what's coming.
I would like to believe that part of it also is probably because Black Widow is in Avengers movie. Now the Punisher part you can't really justify that unless they got something coming down the pike. But I mean I think part of that might be because she's in the movie.
Deathlock also is not on the canceled list, so the 3 Edmondson books are all safe. So I'm wondering if going forward he's going to be allowed to have like his own little pocket here of these assassins.
I call it what I like to call the gun-toting characters of the Marvel U. So, I'm not surprised. Listen, Edmondson's doing a great job with these characters, and we'll touch on Punisher number 16, which is one of my candidates for Click of the Week this week. I love this issue. There were so many great dramatic twists in this issue that I just had a lot of fun reading it. My notes kind of remind me, one of the things that I remembered thinking was it read a lot like some of the earlier Punisher War Journal issues that Carl Potts and Jim Lee did, where there was a lot of internal monologue and sort of external political and philosophical debates going on between himself, like going on internally and with other outside characters. It proved to be a really good read. I enjoyed it. What do you think, Dirt?
Well, this one, it comes across very cinematic. And I think that's kind of been an ongoing thing, but this one especially felt like if you had a big budget action movie for the summer, like this is starting to fill in that Jason Bourne or that 007 kind of role, especially with all the political insights that are going on and the
intrigue,
the government teams coming after him and all the things that he's got to do, where it just made the scope feel that much bigger of what was going on in the world around him. Because even though all of LA was on fire and you had these giant citywide riots and whatever, it's still he wasn't interacting with all of that, whereas now he's actually interacting with like, I don't know, was this a congressman or a lobbyist?
Well, I think it was like the Secretary of Defense or something like that.
Well, some very important person, and that just suddenly, just ramps up because civilians in Los Angeles going crazy. Yeah, it's California; they'll fall in the ocean. Who cares? But once you start, getting into these government conspiracies and the, all these evil guys who are trying to take over the country in their own surreptitious ways, that it just really feels like you've got this great intrigue going on. The one thing that really kind of bothered me, though, was that the artwork felt a little inconsistent.
Really?
Some of the early pages where you have the guys sitting around the conference table and they're talking about what's going on with the Punisher and everything, the artwork just felt, there aren't a lot of backgrounds and the guys are just kind of looking at each other, and it just didn't feel like the same level of quality on the artwork, and maybe that's because some of the later ones got so in depth with the helicopters and the explosions and all of that he had to spend extra time drawing, 200 tombstones in Arlington National Cemetery, and that was another thing that kind of got me, was you look at the cemetery scenes, and it's not like he drew 3 rows of tombstones and then just put some bumps in the background. Like, he actually drew 200 tombstones in one panel, so I don't know if he needed the extra time to take care of that or what, but it just did feel like it fell apart a little bit in some of those scenes, but I mean the story is just fantastic. Just couldn't be beat.
Like I said, it's one of my candidates for Click of the Week.
Yeah, mine as well.
Okay. So that's both Edmondson books.
Yes.
Yep.
Let me get to. I'll knock out two that I read, kind of back to back, which were Batgirl 40 and Batgirl Endgame, which ties into the Batman Endgame kind of mini event going on in the main Batman series right now. So with Batgirl 40, last issue kind of ended on a cliffhanger where there appeared to be two Barbara Gordons. Spoiler alert. So when Batgirl launched, not relaunched, but started with the new creative team, one of the things that they set up was how Barbara Gordon had set up a computer program off of her brainwave patterns, and this AI program basically got sentient and believes that she's the real Batgirl, and it connected with this social media app called Hook, HOOQ, and basically kind of did the whole Hydra predictive program of going out using the Hook software and social media app that has all these users on it, and it could predict, basically their pattern of behavior, trying to predict if they would become, someone good or an evil person. So it was up to Batgirl and her friend Frankie to try to stop this, and of course they were successful. But Frankie was able to. She was able to. What's the word I'm looking for? Kind of dissect the evil portion out of the program. So the program is still. So now the program is fixed, I guess you could say, so that her and Batgirl can use it for good. And this is sort of like a seed kind of planted while there's a 2-month break for convergence, and it kind of looks like they might be setting Frankie up to be the new Oracle. So you perhaps have your Oracle. Oh, and another cool thing was I had to go back and look at this like one-page spread when I have a little more time. Like when that AI program was going out and basically the program found a bunch of people that they thought to be threats and used Hook to like invite them to like this one location out in like the middle of Burnside for like a concert party. And on the page it was like pinpointing little, like putting like dot balloons, not dot balloons, but like it basically looked like the Hook software,
the computer
like
text.
Yeah, the computer text, and like saying like this person is going to be doing this in the future. So it's like, I guess a character from Gail Simone's run on Batgirl. They predicted that she would turn into like a vigilante character, and like this other person would be something else. So that could be potential seeds of threats or allies to come later in the series. So I thought that was kind of cool. I always like the seeding of things, and I'm kind of pissed that how they have been setting up this whole thing with Barbara putting all this time into this AI program that she thought she lost, and how I didn't see that it was going to turn into something evil. So they did a good job of catching me off guard with that. And the Batgirl Endgame issue, there really isn't too much to talk about with that. It's basically one of those issues where it relies all on the art because there's no word balloons, there's no dot balloons.
Oh, really?
There's no dialogue in it. It's all the visuals, which is done by the artist Bengal.
Oh, silent interlude.
Yep. Bengal's on the art, and Cameron Stewart and Brendan Fletcher co-wrote it. And the only like I guess dialogue portions that are in the book are those text messages type those. So there are text balloons because Batgirl and so basically you have to read them in the order. Read Batgirl 40 first, and then read Endgame issue. Because in the Endgame issue, Frankie is helping Batgirl from through Batgirl's cell phone. So Frankie's somewhere else on the computer sending like text messages and like information to Batgirl's phone, and Batgirl's doing the same, sending stuff back to Frankie. So there's like emoticons, there's like reading the map on Batgirl's phone. It's very, very nicely done issue. But like I said, it relies all on Bengal, who did a great job, and I kind of want to see him on a couple more books now. I know he started popping. I know he's not a new artist, but he's new to me, and I've seen he's like showed up on a couple. There was another DC book he did that I can't think of right now, like maybe a month ago. But I kind of hope he shows up more. I know in June he's doing the cover to Teen Titans, and I kind of wish he would become the Teen Titans regular artist. Just because it's like his art kind of matches kind of like the youthfulness of teenage heroes. So that's Batgirl 40 and Batgirl Endgame.
All right.
Woo-hoo. Well, let me put one excuse me out here real quick. Moon Knight number 13. So here we have a new creative team with Colin Bunn and Ron Atkins and crew. This seems to be
another new creative team.
Another new creative team, yes. So I don't know if he's going to be on for an arc, or they're just going to keep going with people until they find something that stick, or I guess until the book ends, whatever. I don't know which is the case, but either way, I am not familiar with Colin Bunn's writing. I know who he is, and I know of some of the stuff that he's written, but I've never really read much of his stuff. That said. This seems to be a going back to basics issue for Moon Knight. So
to an extent.
Yeah. So there's no Mr. Knight showing up. There's just Moon Knight being called on by Khonshu and some other constructs to do a mission, which he does. Lots of action. It's just a pretty much a straight up action issue with this. The art in it. It's pretty decent for the most part.
There's definitely a supernatural twist to this, more so than even just the interaction in the last issue with Khonshu. I'll throw out the fact that I caught up on the last issue of Moon Knight in preparation to prepare to read this issue, because I know that the previous storyline wound down in the previous issue, and this is a kind of a jumping on point. So in terms of back issues, I read that last issue and I read this issue. I like the fact that these writers are continuing the idea of, that there are multiple aspects to the Moon Knight character. One of them is the more traditional looking superhero one, which is what appears in this issue. But Mr. Knight is not far away, because I believe at an early point in this issue, Mark Spector is dressed in the Mr. Knight clothes.
In the beginning, he has most of the suit on, yeah.
Right, so I think it's still there. It's just, there's certain times when, the story calls for a different looking, like a different aspect of the character. And that said, the supernatural stuff in this was kind of not hokey, but it was just a little weird, because it definitely delved into a lot of science mixed with the supernatural.
Did you think Ghostbusters first for a quick second?
Yes.
Is that one special when you first found out what was going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No proton streams.
No proton packs, exactly. So.
No. So, but it was a nice little. I guess it's a one and done issue.
I don't know. The last page may indicate may or may not indicate something further than that, but I'm not really certain because
Right. It's hard to tell, but ultimately, I still, like I said, I like the fact that they're continuing to use, the status quo of Moon Knight to tell good stories. And I enjoyed the story. As hokey as the whole ghost thing was, I kind of, I didn't really think that was the best part of the story. I still thought it was a well-crafted story overall.
Yeah, it seemed like they might be going down a more supernatural path if they continue down the line that this issue has taken. I'm guessing that's Colin Brothers' wheelhouse. I'm not sure. So, I mean, you guys may be more familiar with his stuff than I am.
He does all the villain-centric books, Lobo, Magneto, a bunch of the Deadpool 4-issue miniseries.
Did he do Sinestro?
Sinestro, yeah.
There you go.
But otherwise that it was a decent read. We just want to see. I'm just kind of seeing where this is going to go before I'm making.
Future writer on Aquaman.
Yeah.
Okay. And while I'm here, let me go ahead and pull this one out. Princess Leia #2.
I did not have a chance to read this. So annoyed.
This is good.
Yeah, it was really good. We get a more on Leia's backstory, like when she was younger, before everything popped off. We get to see her doing, I don't want to say it's a typical story because it's not, but it's the story of like the princess who constantly wants to be in the action, which knowing who Leia grows up to be, we can see that being the case. But we seeing her going through various flashbacks of her life while going on this mission to find her people with this other pilot, and they end up on Naboo and into a little bit of trouble, which they
There's no Jar Jar, is there?
No,
there is a Gungan that does show
Damn
up
it!
in one of the panels, but it doesn't say anything. It's just a person off on
Background
the
visual.
side.
Okay.
Yeah, just a person off on the side. So don't worry about that. I thought about that too as soon as I wait. Okay, no, it was good. So, but outside of that, it was a good story. This arc is going to be them, like I said, trying to find her people and trying to find her way and trying to find out what she's going to be presumably end up doing, in the course of the movies also.
Well,
who
there's
she ends
also
up being.
you're also starting to see the layers that Wade is putting into the story, where he sets up a trap which resolves itself in this issue, but then you find out that there's actually another deeper trap that's kind of been laid out before them. So it's that layers of the onion, peeling back. You get rid of this one threat, but then there's this bigger threat that's out there gunning for him as well. So I enjoyed the setup of that, because you can tell it's one of those. It'll probably be like a slow burn over the course of several issues as that plays itself out. It's not just these kind of one and done, like, oh, there's a threat, we got over it, let's move on type of deal.
Right, and from what I understand, this is not an ongoing. This is just a mini-series, correct?
Right.
I think it's 5 issues.
Yes.
Right.
So,
Yes, 5 issues.
but this looks like this is looking to be a good pickup. So it's a potential click of the week, let's say.
Nice.
All right. I've reviewed Chrononauts #1 for TheClickNation.com and PopCultureNetwork.com.
I read this. I liked it.
The book that just got optioned for a movie that we mentioned earlier. So yeah, it's a bromance kind of book where you have 2 characters, Dr. Quinn and Danny.
Not Medicine Woman, but
I'd buy that book.
you got to pitch that one, sir. You got to pitch that one.
Yeah, I
And
think that license is available.
They're embarking on a time travel adventure together, and with the twist that it's basically almost like a reality show where the viewing public gets to tune in and watch their adventures. And so, of course, they send. So Quinn goes off into the facilitator to go back to a certain point in time, but of course something goes wrong, and Danny jumps in to rescue his friend. and hopefully hijinks will ensue.
Hmm.
So this is the well, I was going back to saying how I like simple books, especially when it comes to my indie books. I mean, the premise is simple. It's two guys who are good friends are going off doing time travel together. I mean, there's so many ways you could take it, but like especially with first issues, I like stuff to be kind of as far as the non big two books go, to keep things simple. Don't throw 5+ new characters at me to try to remember their names and what their power sets are. Just let me know what the synopsis basically is of the story, and let me go about my way. It's funny, I'm complaining about multi-character issue or members of a book, and there was another comic book Image that came out this week, Secret Identities, which I enjoyed the first issue, but I didn't get to read the second issue yet. So, but it has kind of that same issue of it's a team superhero book, so it's I have no idea who the people's names are or what their character or their power sets are. So. But yeah, Chrononauts was good. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on the site. Go check it out. Anyone else read it that wanted to add anything to it that I forgot?
No, you covered most of the bases on that. The hijinks were kind of, I hate to say this, I kind of predicted where it was going as soon as things started to go awry. But I thought that the concept, at least, of going to, spoiler alert, ding ding, going to certain events in the past to observe and to see how they actually unfolded is sort of a novel way to not abuse time travel, because we've seen time travel be abused in in mainstream comics recently. So it's kind of different to see a little bit of restraint being exercised, but of course, all that goes out the window when something goes wrong.
All right. Let's go next.
Dirt, I see you read Superman 39.
I did indeed.
What'd you think?
It was actually a pretty good issue.
Didn't it seem like it was a great kind of day in the life type of issue, given given what's been going on?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the one where everything kind of slows down and kind of goes back to the character focus, and it's not about the giant threat to the city, and it's not about showing off his powers, which literally this is not, because at the end of the last issue he showed off his new solar flare attack that basically shoots out all of his superpowered energy that's stored into his cells, and now he's powerless for 24 hours while he recharges. And so this is him as a human. Basically, he has no powers. His body's recharging, so he's not invulnerable. He cannot fly. When he eats something, he tastes what it actually tastes like to humans, which was kind of interesting. I never really thought about that before. Talks about how he forgot to grab a jacket because usually he can see how dense the air molecules are and knows whether or not he should dress like it's warm or dress like it's cold. And you got a lot of the the personal character insights of what it's like. Also in 38, I believe it was, he showed off, or was it in Superman 38? Yeah, he revealed himself to
Jimmy Olsen,
and showed that he is, Clark Kent is Superman, and so now he's got the friend, the human friend to confide in, who's not another superpowered hero, who's just a regular guy, and they can have regular dude conversations and all of that. So to me it felt kind of hearkening back to the early 90s in Superman, when they did all the books as like an ongoing weekly series as it jumped through the 5 different titles, that you got that development of the humans, and the humans became as important to the story as Superman was. This to me just kind of felt like it's going back to the idea of, okay, there are all these humans around him, all these other characters, let's give them some time, let's develop them a little bit, show the relationships with Clark and Superman, and kind of rebuild that human world, because you can't always do stories where the entire city's in peril and he's got to use his powers to save everybody, because then it's just boring, it's the same thing over and over. So some real character development, some real people, thrown into the mix, which really made it for a good read.
Forgive me for not being up on my Superman canon, but was Jimmy among the characters that knew Superman's real identity back,
Yes.
like pre-New 52? Okay.
Jimmy Olsen, starting in like the 70s, I believe, he had a watch that had a button on it. When he pressed the button, it sent out a high-pitched signal that only Superman could hear.
Right. I remember him being Superman's friend,
Yeah,
but I wasn't sure that he...
And, yeah, eventually over the years, I mean, who knows? I don't remember.
He figured it out.
But yeah, it got revealed at some point during
okay.
the line.
All right. I just wasn't sure. I wasn't that up on Superman history to know for sure. Obviously, he can be pals with Superman, but not know his secret identity and have that watch to be able to call him at a moment's notice. But I just wasn't sure about that.
But it also, well, I was going to say, that also kind of came during the time when everybody started to know Superman's secret identity. I mean, Lois knew, and Jimmy knew, and there were a couple other characters. I think Guardian knew. Just a bunch of people around Metropolis. Like it wasn't the best kept secret anymore, and it got kind of silly. Like how many people actually knew.
Right.
So I hope they're not going to do too much of that.
Right. I like like you said, I like the kind of not bromance. I hate to use the term bromance because we've already heard it once tonight, in reference to Chrononauts. But it was nice to see Jimmy and Clark kind of just, sit down, what were they having? Either falafel or a gyro.
Well, they had hot dogs at lunch.
Right, and comparing, but I think they were having something in a pita or a wrap at the end.
They were having on the building?
Yes.
Right.
But they were having hot dogs earlier, and it was just nice to see them, sit, break bread, and just kind of talk as friends, as peers, as opposed to what they had been up until now in the New 52.
Well, the other thing I found interesting is that they're talking about Superman's hearing is coming back, and he can hear everything that's going on. And Jimmy goes, something like, that must be terrible. You can hear every problem, every person calling out for help, everything that's going wrong. And he goes, no, really, what I'm hearing is it's the end of the day. People are getting off work. They're going home. They're sitting down for dinner. They're playing with their kids. Like, this is actually like a great time of day when things are pretty peaceful and relaxing. And you do get the sense that he is allowed some downtime every once in a while, not just because because things get so overwhelming he has to take time off, or he's constantly saving everybody around the world. But there just are times when the world is normal and there's not a tragedy happening around every corner.
They call them slow news days.
Yeah. and he gets some of those from time to time as well.
Sure. Alrighty. Let's see. Is there anything else on the list here?
Lucky number 12. Anybody want to?
So you read that?
I did.
So forgive me, I'm not that up on this series. I think I've missed a few issues since the big reveal that regarding King Loki. So forgive me for kind of jumping in on this and reading this without being completely caught up. I read this issue, and it did, it mostly helped me fill in a lot of the gaps. I'm still sort of confused as to how we've gotten to this point. A lot of the story is tying up loose ends because this issue, this book is one of those 33 books, I think. I think the next issue is the last issue of this series before Secret Wars. So they've given the creative team, and I want to correctly cite the creative team on this, but they've given the creative team time to wind down their story. And I think I've said this before about this book. This makes me want to go back and reread everything that's happened so far because I want to kind of piece it back all together.
Al Ewing and Lee Garbett.
Yes. Al Ewing and Lee Garbett. So reading this issue made me want to go back because there are some flashback sequences in this that with the dialogue and with what's going on in this issue kind of help tie things together, whereas maybe it didn't make sense the first time around. So again, this issue makes me want to go back and review and say, hey, this is how this all fit together. I give them a lot of credit for tying things up, maybe not neatly, but at least tying things up and making it an easier presentation, towards the end. So I appreciated this book for that. It makes me want to go back and reread at least the last 3 or 4 issues to get up to speed. I'm disappointed to see this book end. I like this whole development of Loki as, I guess this is sort of using the future Thor, future Asgard that Jason Aaron developed and playing off that as well.
Yes. Did
you notice that?
Yes.
Okay. So I was just gonna say, just to wrap up on my end, I like that it was almost developed in parallel to the future King Thor storyline and developing this future King Loki character as well.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense because it's like, well, King, you kind of know at this point where King Thor comes in at if you are reading that book, but what becomes of his brother during that time, so you kind of get a hint of that. And this is basically a old King Loki, old Loki, just kind of villainously exposits on his plan up until now. And it is interesting reading. And like, I have been keeping up on this book, and yeah, there are certain things in the past that I'm, like I said, that I'm not up on, but you kind of can keep up on. There's a couple of things. Like, I'm not up on the Thor stuff, but I do know enough to know that, hey, King Thor's a thing and whatnot.
Right. That wasn't the part that was confusing to me. That actually, I was kind of glad to see something I recognized in this issue. I was like, oh yeah, I know where this King Thor stuff comes in. It's the other stuff, but then seeing how all this ties together with how he's the agent of Asgard, why he became the agent of Asgard.
Right.
I think that served to, as I said, tie a lot of these loose ends together in this book and kind of, push the book towards its I guess logical end. We'll see how the series ends before Secret Wars. So, but this has become it's not a must read, but it's become now a very interesting read. It's an intriguing read now, especially having read this issue. Makes me want to go back and review and catch up.
Yeah. At this point, I'm kind of like, it is still interesting enough to read for me, but it's kind of like the thing with, say, Superior Spider-Man, where interest was there at the beginning because it was something different from what you saw, from the character, and I love that about this book.
Right.
And some of that is still there, even though it's starting to flip back around to familiar territory, or potentially flipping back around.
Potentially kind of reestablish an older status quo, like a previous status quo of Loki and the nature of the character, the nature of his either evil or mischief or a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that.
But it's still keeping me in there.
All right. I don't think anyone read Silk #2.
Mm-hmm.
No, not yet.
I'll just throw out that I don't know if we're in rapid fire area yet, but Silk #2, it's still a fun read. This, much like Ms. Marvel, makes me feel old. When I read it, I read the dialogue, I read some of the internal monologue that goes on, and I'm like, wow, I can't even imagine listening to someone speak like this in real life. But it's a developing story. They're developing, I guess, Silk coming out of Spider-Verse and trying to establish herself. We understand that she's on the quest to find out what happened to her family. She's investigating their apparent disappearance off the face of the earth. Once she was locked into the vault by Ezekiel, they basically disappeared, and she's trying to find out what happened to them. In the meantime, there is a mysterious third party that appears to be testing her from afar, and we're going to find out sooner or later who this is and what their plans are for Silk. But in the meantime, like I said, this issue is It's filled with dialogue that makes me feel old. But I like where they're going with this character. I'd like to see a little bit more before I commit to maybe keeping this on a pull list. But I'm happy to see that they're pushing another character, another young character, a female Asian character in this case. So it's I'm glad to see that, and I think it's well done so far.
Let me throw out a book here real quick before we get too far into the quick rapid fires. All the way here at the end of my list here was a book that came out this week called The Undersea Adventures of Captain Eli. This is actually volume 3 of this ongoing, more of like a graphic novel series from Jay Piscopo. And he has some public domain characters like Commander X mixed with his own original creations like the Sea Ghost and Captain Eli, and it's basically harking back to the old Johnny Quest style Filmation superhero cartoons, and he's got this really funky art style where I've got some samples here that I'll pull up the pages. He's got computer generated mechs and computer-generated backgrounds, but then he draws the characters on top. So the people are hand-drawn on top of these computer-generated backgrounds. So it's got this really original art style going on where the people look like your classic comic book characters, but they're interacting in what appears like a real world almost, video game cutscenes, basically, that they're coming into. And the story is, with it being volume 3, he puts a couple pages in the front where he, explains all the characters and where they came from and how they came together and everything like that. But really, the story is family friendly. And I say family friendly, like not in the sense that it's for children, but it's all ages. There's no blood, there's no gore, there's no nudity, there's nothing like that in it. It really is that clean kind of classic comic book style, but it is written on a couple different levels. So my son, who's 10, can sit down and read it, and he sees these giant robot monsters attack, and they have to fight him back and find the bad guy and find his headquarters and stop him before he destroys the world and whatever. But at the same time, there are character interactions going on. The characters are developing, the relationships between them and the way that they feel. Captain Eli is a younger kid who's got a lot of intelligence and a lot of abilities at his disposal. He's kind of like a young Tony Stark, the way that goes, and so it's something that I can enjoy. Harking back to the old cartoons, the old Saturday morning stuff, the classic superhero type stuff. He does really have that kind of 60s comic book feel to the characters and things. But then at the same time, my son reads it and it's giant monsters and the big robots attacking the satellite headquarters in space and all of that kind of stuff going on. So it works for several different levels and several different ages, and it's just got a really unique style to it with the way he mixes the hand-drawn art and the computer-generated art. So overall, it's a good read. You get these graphic novels. Full disclosure, they sent me several of them about a year ago, just to get acquainted with them, so I could learn about the characters and things like that. But this one I actually did pick up personally to continue to see what's going on, and to also let my son read it because it's something that he can enjoy, I can enjoy, and then we can talk about it. And that's something that you don't find a lot of on comic racks these days.
All right, cool.
Boom.
Nice.
Do you want to do the rapid reviews now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's do rapid review. I see that we've avoided talking about anything Black Vortex this week.
Well, I did read All New X-Men 39.
Oh, yeah, but it's all very forgettable.
Yeah.
So there's my rapid fire review of that. That's all very forgettable.
I will
All
say
X-Men this week. Guardians Team Up 3 this week.
This was the issue of All New X-Men where the large assemble of heroes split up into like 3 different teams to go have 3 different missions that can take place in all the other various tie-in books to the event. And I did not read the Guardians team up yet, so.
And I could care less. Seriously, this is just not. It's not interesting to me at all. All New Captain America #5 actually was not a bad issue. I see that you read this also. Roddy, you read this as well?
I did, yeah.
So rapid, just quickly, I was surprised to see, spoiler alert, ding ding. I was surprised to see Ian, the new Nomad, come back, and I thought it was kind of a weird explanation. Exactly. Very convenient to mechanism for the character to reappear. I'm not going to spoil anything. Obviously, I've already spoiled that he does reappear, but I thought that this issue was actually more. It was faster paced. It was there seems to be more happening in this issue more so than in the previous issues combined, and it read a lot better. It read a lot quicker, and I felt like the story actually moved along in this issue. So. This isn't the Captain America that we've kind of struggled with for the last couple of months. I like this issue. I did see that trick that Falcap pulled off, coming from a mile away when I remember when they reminded us how the Doomsday or this particular scheme was going to be spread. When I thought about it just took me a second. Just before it actually happened on page, I thought to myself, well, there's a way he could do this. Oh, and there it is.
Yeah. And I think that even got brought up by Zemo.
Yes.
Huh. Your useful skill is finally impressive.
Now you're useful.
Yeah.
I did notice that, yeah, I agree with how the issue did really feel like the pace picked up a lot compared to the previous ones.
Damn shame what they did to that bird.
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to talk about that. That sucked. That was pretty bad.
But overall, a good action-packed issue, and Sam's coming into his own.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Baron. The character that perpetrates this awful act. My lasting image of that character is Steve Rogers taking his shield to his neck, from back in the day. I'm kind of spoiling who it is that I'm talking about, but for older Cap characters, So.
Yeah. Well, since we're on Cap, I guess Captain America and Mighty Avengers #6.
How did you read this?
This is a potential click of the week.
Really?
Yes.
I only think this is a potential click of the week because of how it ended, not how we got to the end.
Well, yeah, that is more so for the ending and leading up to it is why.
That was a slog, Roddy. I didn't even have I didn't have the gut. I didn't have the wherewithal to type that into my list of books that I made it through this week.
Honestly, I kind of brushed through that first part because there's a couple things going on. I mean, it's like, okay, but like the stuff with Power Man and the other responsibility where Cap actually does come in, that part is kind of a whatever.
Yeah.
But the meat of it is the more with Beyond Corp.
Yes.
If you know that name.
Yes.
You will be either happy and or groaning. I don't know.
Yes.
You did read it.
I did read it.
Okay.
But it was very tough to slog through that beginning part.
Right.
It makes you want. I hate to say this. It makes you want to stop reading. And it's a shame because you won't get to the meat of the issue, which involves the Beyond Corporation, and then leads up to a direct tying in of a book that I wasn't 100% sure was in Marvel continuity.
Oh no, yeah, because I think early on in the series, well, in the previous Mighty Avengers series, they had alluded to it, and I think. They may have in the first couple of issues may have kind of alluded to it also, but I'm so glad this is basically saying that next wave. Just go ahead and say it. Next wave is canon. just go ahead and say it. And I love specifically the last page.
Yes.
Or the last 2 pages when Monica comes in because it was like, okay, this is something I've been wanting to see them kind of directly talk about.
Yes. Listen, Monica Rambeau is one of my favorite characters.
Mine also.
They've done her a huge disservice. They do not know what to do with her, and I think that they can definitely develop her as a great character in her own right. And I'm glad that Mighty Avengers is a vehicle for her. That said, it took me it was almost torturous to get to that point reading this book.
Yeah, like I said, I just kind of blew past that part because I knew it was only like a side issue, and whether it ties into anything of value or not, then so be it. But I am not entirely certain. So I just kind of took it. Well, this is a side story or a side part of the whole story. Right. Whatever happens with that will happen. But yeah, the meat of it is what it is. It's good. And we actually, with that last page, we get to see a blending of
costumes.
The various. Well, I was about to say personalities, but that wouldn't be the right word. But yes, the costumes that Monica's had, which is cool to see.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very happy for the character. I'm glad that they're developing her. I'm really hoping that Mighty Avengers just doesn't become. I haven't picked up this volume of Mighty Avengers because it's just been too hard to read. Greg Land drives me away from every book that he's on.
This is not him on this.
I know, but I know it's like
in general. I got you. Yeah.
It's Lee.
Luke Ross.
Yeah, Luke Ross. I'm sorry. The Luke Ross art is actually pretty good in this issue.
Yeah, what you see on the cover is pretty much what you see.
Exactly. So I'd like to see in the next volume this group of characters. I'd like to see maybe a little bit of fat trimmed. To be perfectly honest, I could do without White Tiger. Even though I know she's on the Web Warriors or the TV show,
right?
But, I no offense to her, but I don't really need to see the character in this book. I'd like to see Blue Marvel. I'd like to see Spectrum or Monica Rambeau, whatever she's calling herself nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, I think if they put
the characters I want to see.
I think if they put White Tiger and Power Man in, say, another The Crew type situation, like making street level and having them doing that, it would probably be better for them. But I'm not opposed to seeing them on this team. But yeah, I get what you're saying about that.
I just don't care about those characters in particular. So in my opinion, at least, I'd love to see an Avengers book that's based around Blue Marvel and Spectrum and. Who else? Just throw out maybe one of the other Mighty Avenger types, or Luke Cage, or She-Hulk. So She-Hulk at least has a team book that she's involved in. That's who I want to see. I don't necessarily care about White Tiger and the new Power Man. But I guess we have to develop these characters somehow.
Yeah.
Any other books this week? Oh. Rapid Fire Hulk number 13. This actually wasn't a bad issue. We're winding down on the Omega Hulk. We're leading up to the final confrontation between the few remaining gamma-powered beings. The new extremist Doc Green is seeing his plans kind of come apart at the seams. One of his creations is sort of rebelling and going against his wishes and doing its own thing, and it's almost reminiscent of like what you guys are talking about with Alex and Ada using robots and AI and what can happen if things go bad with them. That's an issue that's something that comes up in this issue in this comic. It's tough to gauge what this run has been like. This Duggan run on Hulk has been like. I'm sort of reading this out of a sense of duty, or even for pure academic purposes, as opposed to really enjoying it. I simply just want to see how this whole Omega Hulk storyline wraps up, and seeing who's left at the end of it in terms of the gamma-powered characters. So, in a rapid fire review, this was okay. This is one of the better issues of the more recent Hulk issues.
I will say I read the Nova Annual that Doc Green guest starred in over the weekend, and it was very enjoyable.
That was pretty good.
I like how Duggan's incorporated all the characters he writes into all his various books now. Everyone's guest starring.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Dirt.
Yep.
Did you read Transformers 39?
I did not.
Okay.
I'm back around 31 or 32 on those. I actually did read about 5 or 6 of them over the weekend, but I just didn't get a chance to get caught up completely.
Yeah, that's gonna be my weekend project.
All right.
Although I did read, there was the new issue of Millennium that came out from who's doing it? IDW, and my complaint with the first issue was that it was way too tied in with X-Files and the X-Files mythology, and that was never a part of the show. This issue actually does a better job of kind of distancing itself from that a little bit. It does draw a lot more from the actual Millennium TV series as opposed to X-Files, so I did enjoy this a lot more than I enjoyed the first one. Still not quite where I'd like it to be, generally speaking. I mean, Mulder is still there and some of that stuff, but one of the key things about the TV show was that the Millennium Group kind of disbanded. It had a civil war from within, and it imploded on itself. And it looks like now that the group is either back or it never actually went away. So this shadowy group with almost like an Illuminati type group is still out there and still active. And is still playing some sort of part in things that are going on in the world. So it is, going back more to the TV series that I really enjoyed, and I'm just hoping that by the time we get to the end, it's only a 5-issue series at this point. By the time they wrap it up, it's fully back where it belongs and not tied into X-Files anymore. And then also, I did read the new 52, Future's End, which I guess you could call it a spoiler, but what you see on the cover is actually part of the story.
Okay.
So what you're seeing there is 100% what happens inside the book, so call it a spoiler if you want. But,
ding, ding!
Batman Beyond bites it.
Seriously, they whacked Terry McGinnis. Oh.
Well, here's the thing: Batman Beyond is one of the books that is getting a regular series after Convergence. However, this book sets it up that Batman Beyond that returns is not Terry McGinnis; it's someone else in the suit. And this book sets up who that person could be. There's also the whole setup, the whole premise of the story has been that Terry was trying to get to the modern-day DC universe, and he missed. He jumped 5 years into the future of now, which is 30 years prior to where he had been in the future. The device he had was only wired for one jump, and he turns it over to Batman in the hopes that Batman can actually repair it. Batman is working with, I believe, the Atom, Ray Palmer, and the two of them are going to try to restore this. And there's a question of, ultimately, is it going to be a character from Future's End jumping 30 years back into the future for the new Batman Beyond story, or is Batman going to jump 5 years into the past to modern DC to stop what eventually happens in Future's End? So they've opened that mystery back up for what's going to be happening with that technology, but as far as Terry McGinnis, this is the end of the road for him.
Let's pour out a 40 for him. But speaking of DC weekly books, did you happen to read Batman Eternal this week?
I have not read that since they did that Brazilian soap opera.
So I understand, just from reading online stories, that the man or the woman or the character, I've already spoiled it already, the character behind the plot against Batman is basically revealed in this story, so in this issue. So I'm not going to spoil it. We need to go out and read it and find out. And what I've read online is that this is actually going to maybe make you go back and read some of the previous issues to see how it all ties together. So it's kind of reminiscent of what I said about Loki, Agent of Asgard. If it's good enough to make you go back and reread or check out to see how things are connected, that's not bad.
Well, Batman Eternal is probably going to end up being one of those things where I'm going to go to Wikipedia after the series is over and look for the 10 issues that you need to read in order to get the story, and I'll read those. But after the Brazilian soap opera one, and then I think about a month or so ago, I thought, hey, maybe I'll get back into Batman Eternal, and I noticed the issue was all about Harper Row, and I said, nope, not doing it. So once it's all said and done, I may go back and read just the key issues so I understand the storyline. But they've lost me on this one.
Wow.
Yeah, that Brazilian soap thing was like the last one I read before I took a very long break, and then I read like maybe 4 or 5 more. But I think I'm like in the 20s, and they're like on almost 50 now.
Yeah, 50 is this week's issue.
Mm-hmm. There's only 52 issues total, right? Or are they going to go on past 52?
I'm pretty sure it's 52.
It's ending.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they're 1 year weeklies, so it's 52. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
One more. Let's see, real quick. Storm number 9. Gambit comes around looking for some help because I guess he had become the head of the League of Assassins.
Oh, I read
whatever.
this.
Yes, whatever Assassin's Guild that he's a part of.
Thieves Guild, I think it is.
Thieves Guild. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know why. Gee, forgive me, but
no, I mean there's an assassin.
No.
If you go back to like his, his.
They're actually there was. That's right, because the animated series they had the thieves and the assassins going against each other. Totally forgot about that. But he comes to Aurora for help, and they go off, and it was a fun read because it's just like them getting into an adventure. At one part looks similar to Indiana Jones movie.
Right. But then all of a sudden they become the Dragon Warrior. That's
exactly.
a Kung Fu Panda reference.
Exactly. Exactly. I saw that part.
When I saw that, I was like, are you serious right now?
Yeah. But so this seemed like so this was a fun read for just that part because they were just kind of it was a little sad thing. But there was also the side story with the school and an old student that may or may not come back into the fold and what's going on with the school itself.
Right. But I thought the Kung Fu Panda part made me laugh. I mean, that brought a smile to my face.
Yeah.
I kind of made it through. They did make passing Indiana Jones references, and I thought that was pretty funny. But the Kung Fu Panda bit made me laugh. I always joke about this when I'm reading our academic copies, our academic review copies. I happen to be on the subway, and I'll, full headphones, sunglasses, tablet. I'll laugh out loud because I recognize that was straight out of the Dragon Scroll and Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
Clips of the week time?
Yes. I'm going to go quick. The book I probably had the most fun reading. Not fun in the sense that it was enjoyable, but just, the twists and turns. There's definitely Punisher number 16 this week by Edmondson and Gerards.
Okay.
Actually, lost my screen share. What happened? There we go. That's actually my click of the week as well.
Nice.
What?
Punisher is the best.
Wow, look at that. Wait. Who did you put up that click of the week thing in the bottom left?
I did. I did that.
That's awesome.
Yes, we'll send that around so we can paste that on our pictures we steal online when we put our clicks of the week up.
Actually, I have all the covers because I had to inventory them for the store. So let me know what you want, and I'll throw your stamp on it.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay. So my click of the week, it was close, but I'm going to go with the Batgirl Endgame issue.
No kidding.
What?
That's so, out there.
It goes back to, again, being simple, but I just like the the no dialogue, just straight. I'm a sucker for art, of course, so straight art issue. It was pretty.
You need to read that G.I. Joe Silent Interlude issue if you like this.
Oh, I've got it somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was like one of the first comments I had, I remember.
Hashtag
like
first comment.
Yeah, it's like barely holding together on the bind, but I've got it somewhere upstairs.
Nice, nice. Well, to round us out, I will keep my pick of Captain America and the Mighty Avengers #6. Like I said, specifically for those last few pages.
I love it. Matt Wang 97, our
I know, shout out to
our
him.
friend, exactly. Shout out to Matt, our friend and former guest on the podcast was agreeing with us on Twitter. Listening along to watching along on YouTube, listening to our dialogue about Captain America and the Mighty Avengers, how it was a tough slog getting through to the point where we wanted to read again, about the Beyond Corporation and how it ended with with Spectrum and in my opinion, tying Next Wave completely back into the Marvel universe proper.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Alrighty.
So those are the clicks of the week. Oh, I'm supposed to do applause now. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to tonight's Comic Book Chronicles.
Yay!
Shout out to Matt again for tweeting at us during the show. Make sure to give him a follow on Twitter. You can find him at MattWang97.
There you go.
And follow myself on Twitter at TimDOGG98 and at TheClickNation.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Follow Agent70 at Agent_70.
Ka-ching. Go Peg Legs.
Follow Dirt at PCN_Dirt on Twitter and go to his website, popculturenetwork.com.
It's about the peg legs.
And Roddy Cat is at Roddy Cat and at News Nerd Sneed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And if in about 15 or so minutes you are watching the nightly show, you will be able to see Marvel editor Sana Amanat talking about race and gender in comics.
Nice. Amina is pretty cool. She's cool in real life.
Yeah.
And follow our guest tonight, Danny, aka Darkwing Duck, on Twitter.
Woohoo!
Dark with D-R-K Wing Duck.
She is welcome back on this show anytime.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So we'll be back next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday nights. Give us a watch. We are the Comic Book Chronicles, and we are. Oh, you know what? I never actually talked about the convention I went to last Saturday.
Oh, wow!
There's a reason for that because there wasn't much to it. But
Aww.
I'll get to it next week. It's very small. But next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
All right. There's a
Thursday night.
teaser for you.
We are the Comic Book Chronicles, and we are signing off.
Peace! Yeah!